So let's talk about that experiment. Then I added, I'm going to mute my volume as well because I can talk about it here. So this was a two-parter. We started with cold water and warm water. We had the ice in the water for the one, and we boiled some water in the kettle, and we watched how the dye dispersed in the water. We watched it very slowly move through the cold. You can see it's dropping down slowly and spreading in the water very, very slowly. Then we watched the hot and we saw it moved much, much quicker through that warm, that hot water. And so the reason that's happening is the way the molecules are moving, and it's different between the two jars. In the first jar, it's very, very cold, so the molecules slow down. They're not bumping against each other as much, they're not moving around as much. So you saw how slowly the dye dispersed in the cold water. In the hot water, it's a very, very, very different situation. The molecules are moving around like crazy. They're bumping against each other and generating heat. So when we put the dye in here, immediately we had it spread through the whole container. Then I got a little daring for part two, and I put the two jars on top of each other with the help of a little piece of cardboard. And with the warm jar on top, what we noticed was there wasn't a lot of mixing. And that's because even though they're both water, their weights are a little bit different. The cold water is much denser and heavier, so it sinks to the bottom. And that warm water kind of sits on top. But then when I did a flip very carefully in my kitchen, we had a very, very different result with the cold water on top being a little denser, a little heavier. Immediately, we had those colors change to purple. There was an immediate mix of the warm and the cold water. So you can see the difference here. And now we're going to do that little flip, and we will see that immediate change. There we go. Immediately purple, everything mixed. The cooler water was able to sink and mix with that warmer water. So that was a two-parter experiment that we had. A lot of fun to do. A little bit risky in the kitchen. Could have been a bit of a watery dye mess, but everything worked out. Sometimes science works beautifully. Sometimes science gets messy.